This week, something significant is happening. We have the planet Neptune getting ready to station direct at 29 degrees Pisces. This is very significant for our collective evolution and awareness. And it's a really important moment, I think, to really consider where we have some unfinished business with Neptune in Pisces. I'm Marina Orms here with your Astro perspective for Sunday, December 7th. And often on Sundays, or on the weekend, I like to take a zoom out and look at the bigger picture of what is unfolding. In my daily videos, we look at the moon sign, the mood of the day. So we get this opportunity to get the bigger picture sense. And with this week's station of Neptune, planet of the seas, the great oneness, transcendence, spirituality, and really that bigger picture of being and what it is to be who we are beyond our human, ordinary, everyday physical reality. So, Neptune is a planet that moves very, very slowly. And so the last time Neptune was in Aries, in fact, until this year, before this year, was 1875. So, and that was the end of Neptune's journey in Aries, the last one. Right. So Neptune stays in a sign for several years. And when Neptune changes signs, often it takes a couple of years to fully make that transition. It can go retrograde, returning back to the previous sign. So that's what's been happening this year. We've had this shift of, for the first time since 1875, of Neptune into Aries. And and then we had that was on March 30th of this year. Neptune went into Aries. And then on July 4th, Neptune stationed retrograde at 2 degrees Aries to head backwards in the zodiac, which many of the planets do from time to time. And on October 22nd, Neptune retrograde returned to Pisces, went back to the sign that it had recently left. The significance of this shift between Neptune in Pisces and Neptune in Aries is profound. Anytime Neptune or any of the outer planets change signs, it's a big deal. Neptune going from one sign to another tends to speak to our bigger picture of myth, metaphor, our collective sort of understanding of who we are, where we belong, what's important, what gives our lives meaning, and whether we are working with that energy in healthy ways or getting lost in a fog of confusion, which Neptune can also bring. That energy is certainly there, and it certainly sets a tone of background energy that we collectively and individually are working with, moving through. So anytime Neptune changes signs, it's a big deal. The shift, however, from Neptune in Pisces to Neptune in Aries is additionally profound, because we have this feeling of whether it's really like true in the bigger picture or not. There's this feeling of Pisces being sort of that place of endings, completion. So the in the seasons, right? The zodiac signs originally come from the seasons and the vibe that the different seasons have. So Aries in springtime is that energy of emergence, of new life, new growth, new ideas, that vibrancy, that green, new feeling of emergence and aliveness. Whereas Pisces, the sign that is really the end of winter, right after the long haul of moving through the time of restriction, of less light, of having to do with less, and sort of moving into less of a focus on the physical and the here and now, and more into dreams and imagination and stories, and really sort of seeing ourselves as part of something that is much greater and less focused on the here and now. So that's Pisces. And Pisces, so seasonally, but of course, Neptune going through the signs is not a lot. I mean, it doesn't happen with the seasons, that's the sun. But when Neptune goes through the sign of Pisces, it does have that same vibe. So, first of all, Neptune, the planet, is about really this sense of something bigger than us. And so our spiritual needs, our spiritual truths, again, our mythology, our stories, our imagination, our dreams. And it's also, of course, Neptune speaks to those places where we can either transcend or get lost in delusion, addiction, lose that sort of sense of grounding and where we belong. So you put that planet in the sign of endings and imagination and dreams and this bigger spiritual transcendent sort of vibe. And it's just, well, first of all, Neptune is the modern ruler of Pisces. So in a sense, Neptune is in its own sign, depending on your astrological perspective. But for these purposes, Neptune is in its own sign, really enhancing, magnifying exponentially that Neptune Piscean energy. So that's where we've been since Neptune entered Pisces in 2011 to 12. And so that was a couple of years of transition there. But we've had Neptune in Pisces since then, really taking us to this really a need to reimagine, a need to examine our mythology, ask ourselves what new sense of meaning and inspiration do we need? And sometimes we have to go through sort of a collective hard time to be pushed to figure those things out. And also, Neptune in Pisces brings this potential for confusion, illusions, delusions, anything that takes us out of a feeling of certainty, right? A feeling of clarity, of knowing what we know, because we're being asked to update and upgrade and in many ways heal, to have a better sense of reimagining and reconnecting to a bigger sense of purpose. So that's been us, our experience since 2011 and 12. Now, this year, Neptune went into Aries on March 30th. So that was the first time Neptune entering that sign of new beginnings, right? From the sign of endings and dreaming possibility in the future to the sign of beginnings, where you embody that future, that next phase of things. Now you got that Aries springtime energy, or as of March 30th, where you have the life force really coming through, really saying, what are you going to do? How are you going to act? This is the time. Go for what you want. Find your courage, take action, and put that dream, that bigger picture of meaning, into action. What are you going to do about it? So that is where we entered on March 30th of this year. And then on July 4th, Neptune stationed retrograde at 2 degrees Aries, right? Going backward now. So it got 2 degrees into Aries and then shifted to go backward. And then on let's see, October 22nd, Neptune re-entered Pisces. So from March 30th to October 22nd of this year, we had that go energy, that green light, that feeling of like, what is motivating you? What is your purpose? How are you going to do something about it? And find your courage. And that is still part of who we are, right? We've dipped our toes in that water, but with Neptune's retrograde back into Pisces, 29 degrees Pisces, we had this shift back into, okay, where have you not finished that work of dreaming the future? Where do you need to go back and continue to imagine what's important to you, to connect to meaning? Where is the unfinished business? Where is the reckoning with what you haven't been ready to or willing to look at just yet, right? So as we return with that Neptune retrograde back into Pisces, we had this like, okay, here's another chance. Here's another chance. If you don't feel like you really got the full chance to connect with your imagination, your dream for the future, the mythology you want to like live and embody, like the bigger picture principles and purpose and what you care about, what gives meaning to your life, what inspires you. So reconnecting with that. And that has been since October 22nd until this week on December 10th. And it is stationing direct at 4:22 a.m. Pacific time on December 10th at 29 degrees Pisces. So this, first of all, the station this week means that Neptune energy is intensified. It says, okay, so imagine you're walking down the street and you go, oh, okay, I made this progress, but I forgot something. And you turn around and you go back, right? And you get back and you go and you find the thing. And then you turn around again to go forward. And now you're covering territory you've already covered. So that moment when you turn around to go forward, having retrieved the thing that you forgot, that's one way to think about it. So this is a moment. It's a potent moment of shift, of recollecting yourself, of regrouping and re-clarifying, like, okay, let me remember why I'm here, what I'm here to do, what's important, what brings meaning, what fills me with inspiration, right? And what is inspiration? It's breathing in, right? So filling yourself with meaning, with that infinite potential of possibility for what you can create. And when we breathe in, we are inspiring, we are bringing into our bodies the oxygen, the fuel that is going to help us do whatever we need to do. And so you can think about this moment as a moment of breathing in, bringing in whatever refuels you, whatever reminds you of what's important and why you should keep going. And this is going to be the important package of what is the word? Resource. This is going to bring you the important resource that you will bring forward with you into the future, into the next, 150 years, really. You won't probably be alive that long, but right, thinking of it as having that level of significance, that what this package of resources you are bringing with you will be your source. your source of inspiration and fuel, and reminding you of what and why and who, and just the ability to keep going, the ability to do what you need to do. And that resource, that source that comes from a bigger picture of mystery, of wonder, of truth, that is so much bigger than your little ordinary mind can comprehend. That is what you are breathing in this week, is that experience of source and mystery and truth and that bigger picture of why. So be in the wonder this week. Take moments to breathe consciously, take moments to pause, because that's another way of kind of refilling your body, refueling your body with this, I guess, source energy, if you want to call it that, right? So the ability to, and I have my lovely galaxy background here, right? The ability to remember that bigger picture, that sense of there is something pulling you forward, and you cannot fully comprehend what that is, but you need to listen to it, and you need it to go with you, and you need to bring it forward into your future. And we are all, so collectively, we have this invitation to do this, right? To remember who we are, to bring in that bigger picture of mystery and truth. Now, if we don't work with that energy consciously, sometimes it can show up in ways that are confusing or tangled up or messed up. So watch for that. Just, if you see that showing up, if you see dysfunction, if you see, confusion, delusion, misguided experiences, remember to breathe, because you can still be this source of love, of unconditional love that the universe wants to convey to the humans here on Earth. And if you are willing to be a conduit for what is being conveyed, you can carry that forward, and you can do it, right? This is not like some big pie in the sky thing you could never accomplish. It's simply being you. It is simply the job of being yourself, and doing that in the most humble and authentic and genuine way that you can. And that is the wonder and the mystery and the unconditional love of the cosmos. So that is the significance of this week, this Neptune station. You're going back in the street to go get what you forgot maybe to fill up on, or fuel up on, or reconnect with, or remember. And that will feed you going forward. It will be that source of remembering why and who, and just keep you going when you need to be inspired, when you need to remember that just being you, just being genuine, just being true to who you are and what you know, and in that humble way, being of service to this very, very much greater good of mystery. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Marina Orms, and you can book a reading with me if you'd like to explore where this is taking place in your own chart. Astrologyheals.com is my website. I have a member site where I so appreciate your support for this work. That is transformationalastrology.com. Thank you for being here and subscribing to this YouTube channel. I will see you next time with more astrology for unshakable self-care. Bye for now.